All right. Welcome, everyone, to our Destiny and Design New Moon webinar. It's the Cancer New Moon, and we do this, started recently, but we're going to do this twice a month. I'm Christy. I am in Southern California, recently married and going through the immigration process, and I do readings online. And this is my co-host, Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon. I live in Vancouver, Washington, currently in Las Vegas, and I have a company called A Souls Design, and I work with human design, and I also do online readings and coaching.
Awesome. So if you guys know me at all, which a lot of you don't, you would know my passion for human design and destiny cards. And we wanted to make this more accessible and interactive and available for more of a group setting. And most of you, again, if you would know me, you knew my story where I left a toxic relationship in spring of 2023 in Canada. I went to a human design retreat in Costa Rica a few months later, ended up canceling my flight and making a life for myself on the beach. And then 6 months later, met my husband who flew me to Southern California. That might sound crazy, but the craziest part of the story is actually that this was all predicted in a reading that I got 6 days after my breakup, to the exact day that I met my husband, which was December 28th. And so in my readings, I love to be able to share these accurate predictions with clients to offer clarity, direction, and peace of mind. And Sharon, let's talk about your experience with these metaphysicals.
Yes. So I was a 30-year IT business analyst, project manager in high tech, and got laid off, I think, 6 times. And somewhere along the line, I wound up learning about human design, and it gave me the ability to really understand my reactions to things and my emotional waves, if you know anything about human design. And what really helped me was when I learned about destiny cards. I met Christy in January and I learned about destiny cards, and it really was like turning on the headlights for me. For I understood my design and I understood how I would react to things, but destiny cards really helped me turn on the headlights to see what was coming so that I would know what I was going to be reacting to.
So let's talk about what these mystical things are. So we have human design, and then we talk about destiny cards. Destiny cards is an ancient system. It's pre-Egyptian. It predates the tarot, and it's based on a deck of playing cards. It blends astrology with numerology to offer accurate predictions and karmic connections. And it has ties to our Gregorian calendar. So there's 52 cards in a deck, 52 weeks in a year. There's 4 suits, 4 seasons, 4 stages of life, 7 days in a week, 7 periods of 52 days in everyone's 365 solar return, and 7 visible planets. That's the destiny cards. And then human design is a newer system. It blends astrology, quantum physics, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, and the Chinese I Ching to produce a map of how your unique energy and life force frequencies operate. So for human design, when we're doing those charts, we need your accurate birth time, like to the minute. We need your city of birth and your birthday, of course. So if you have that, feel free to pop it in the chat. If you wanted to ask a question, Sharon can pull your chart. Otherwise, for destiny cards, we just use your birthday. We just use the month and day. And then in order to look at the life spread, we would need the year to know where you are at in that spread. With the destiny cards, for example, my birthday is in September on the 15th. And so that makes me a 9 of clubs. We all have a birth card, and then you have a planetary ruler card, which is like your rising sign in astrology. It's like another aspect of that's a big component of your personality. Now, Sharon's birthday is in December, but hers also happens to fall on a day that's a 9 of clubs. And the 9, this is where the numerology comes in. If you think about the number 8, everyone knows it's the infinity symbol turned sideways. It's all about abundance. And so the 8 represents like a bountiful harvest. Like you've got this field that's just ripe and ready to go. The 9 is the field after harvest. There's death, decay, but that's a necessary part of the cycle to have another harvest the next year. This is just part of life. So 9 is all about completing cycles, giving away, and the clubs represents the mental capacities, knowledge. And so me and Sharon's part of our life purpose is to give away knowledge. And so thank you all again for being here. You are allowing us to fulfill a very important part of our destiny.
Yeah. So I gotten laid off once again for the sixth time from what I thought was going to be my dream job, like forever job, in September of last year. And then I was working on my business, I was trying to grow it, and I decided to take on a seasonal job with H&R Block to manage several of their offices during tax season, just as a kind of filler financially until I got my business up and running. And when I met Christy, I had a reading with her in January, and I knew that things were going to be incredibly busy through April. And when we did with the reading, she asked about certain people in my life that I wanted to look up. So I looked up certain dates and to see what the connection was. And something came up related to my half brother, where it showed that there was a possible illness or potentially death coming up in his design. And I knew that he was dealing with cancer. And so that was a foreshadowing of this could be happening. And it was said to be happening in like the April or May timeframe. So I'm thinking it's January. I know I'm going to be busy. I don't know what's going to happen. But when I got the call at the end of March, beginning of April, that my brother had taken a turn for the worse, it was hard to take. And at the same time, I knew it was coming. So I had all those months to prepare for it and understand that I couldn't necessarily drop what I was doing at the beginning of April with tax season ending and fly down there to be with him. So I was able to set up a Zoom call, a video call, so that I could just be complete with him virtually before he passed. So that was something that really had me see the validity in destiny cards and what it can really do for you, that I didn't have to be an emotional wreck feeling that I had to choose between one or the other. I could make it happen.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. And that's a beautiful example of how what we say that destiny cards is like turning on the headlights. You can see what's ahead of you. Whereas human design, we say, is it's like the owner's manual of your vehicle. It's how your energy operates in every single moment. And leading into what we're going to have as our little chat discussion before we go into Q&A. So again, being the Cancer new moon, in your chart, you will probably pull one up at some point, but there's the solar plexus in the body graph. I mentioned that we use the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, which is a 7 chakra system, right? And then in 1781, we evolved as a species actually into 9 centered human beings. And so one of those centers is still the solar plexus, and that is the center for emotions. If it's defined in your chart, it'll either be undefined or defined, and that means it's colored in. And essentially, that's just saying you have a certain frequency related to the solar plexus that is always emitting frequency. If you have it undefined or white, then you are a receptor of emotional energy. And the funny thing is, so I like to use an analogy. If you have this center defined, if you're an emotional person, we would say, you are essentially a pro surfer. You've lived your whole life on these up and down waves. You've had top of the world days, you've had bottom of the ocean days, and it's always fluid. You're always surfing and you're really good at it to the extent that a lot of people won't even know because you're so good at dealing with it. Then you have the undefined emotional people like myself, and we are pro paddleboarders. As long as the water's fine, we're good. I don't have these high and low. I'm just like meh, flat line. And I tend to attract emotional people into my life because they make things interesting. But if, let's say, my husband comes home and I'm sensing, I'm receiving those frequencies, I can feel that low. I, if unaware, could just blow up and be like, something's wrong. What's wrong? And suddenly I've fallen off the paddleboard because I was not ready for this. And so that's an example, right? And so often the undefined emotional people, non-emotionals, we can look a lot more emotional. And so it's backwards, right? When people get a reading done and it's, oh, you're non-emotional. And people are like, no one has ever told me that. Like I always get told that I'm the emotional one. So it's really fascinating. And that's just one example of how this work really helps people understand their own energy and how other people influence their energy. We talk about auras and what color is your aura, but this is really what we do. Sharon, did you want to add?
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to call out that we were looking at with this new moon in Cancer, it's going to bring up a lot of emotional things and it could bring up a lot of emotional waves for those with the defined emotional center. So if you know your chart or charts of others in your life, you want to be very aware and careful that you, as an emotional being with the solar plexus defined, might be having like heightened emotion. And if you're not letting those emotions out, like I, as a child, I instinctively knew that even when I was really happy, that I needed to let that energy out. I didn't know about human design then, but I somehow knew that I needed to let that energy out. So I would go in my room after playing with my friends for hours and sob into my pillow for like 5 minutes. And then I would get up and I'd be fine. And I never told anybody because I thought, this is crazy. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I being so weird? But it's really what my body needed to release that energy. Just a warning, if you have a defined solar plexus and your emotional authority, you want to make sure you release that energy some, either cry into a pillow, get in your car and scream, go for a run, something to get that out. If you have non-emotional people in your life, they might be impacted even more severely if you're not releasing that energy, because anything that you don't release is going to be taken in by them, amplified and reflected back. And then they're going to be the crazy people screaming at you.
Yeah. And the biggest thing, the bottom line of human design is it's all about how to make correct decisions. When we were seven-centered beings, we made logical decisions. We used pros and cons lists. But this was pre 1781. Like for a long time, we've had the capacity to make decisions with our bodies. And so I would say the most important underpinning of this emotional thing, if you have an emotional center defined in your chart, I just heard it described like this and I really liked it. So it's like there's a radio like static going and it's louder and then it's quieter. The impact on you with that noise going on in your energy system is that it's very hard to make a clear decision or to hear what that truth is inside of yourself with all this radio static. And so the advice for emotionally defined people is wait for the response, like sleep on it, right? One day when you're on top of the world, it might be really easy to say yes to this invitation or whatever it is. But when you're feeling low, you're going to wish you didn't maybe accept it, or backwards, and you have FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. So you say yes or you say no when you're in a low wave, but then the day comes, you're like, man, I could have totally handled this. So if you are emotionally defined, just sleep on it, wait for that wave to go up and down. And then when you have the same answer, you'll know. Whereas if you are emotionally undefined, you don't have that. Like me, I heard that and I'm like, that sounds awful to have all this noise. But if you're unemotional, then you know in the moment and you can trust that. And actually, if you wait, your mind is given an opportunity to like mess with that answer, right? So it can be better to make that decision in the moment as long as you're feeling that there's no radio static. Like Sharon said, if you are undefined, though, not only can other people put you through that wave and then you amplify, but also the transit. Like if you look at the transits any given day, and there's actually an app you can see what's it doing right now. If the transit is defining an emotional channel for you, you're going to act like an emotional person and you're going to be like, what is wrong? You know, people text me, what's going on with the moon today? So you also do, besides other people, you get impacted by the transits.
Yeah. And on that note, gate 22 is active right now in the emotional
Oh,
plexus.
perfect.
Yep.
So if you have gate 12 like me, and we'll go through all of this. And of course, by all means, we're about to get into question and answer. If you'd like us to pull your chart and you know what time you were born, we can look to see if you are an emotional being or a non-emotional paddleboarder like me. And otherwise, if you have questions about when will I find love or like business or money stuff, we can look at all of that in the destiny cards too. So if you have a question, feel free to unmute or raise your hand, whatever you prefer. This is the fun part.
Do we want to go ahead and start with oh, I see Kat put something in.
Kat, I'm pretty sure you are splenic, so you are non-emotional. But if you'd like to pull up that chart, I know Kat has to run in about 10 minutes.
What I see right off the bat is gate 22 is active in the transit. The chart it is. So these are the gates that were active right now. So somebody was born right in this moment. These would be the personality gates that they have active. based on the energies at this point in time. You can see that there's the 22 is active here. But if we look back at your chart, you don't have the other side of it. So that means, as a non emotional being, if you're around someone who is emotionally defined and they are not releasing that energy, and you're taking it in, amplifying it, and reflecting it back, you will not only reflect it back based on these other gates that you have active in your chart, but you'll also reflect it back based on gate 22, which gate 22, as somebody who has this, is a ratcheting up effect. So you might feel yourself being annoyed by something or feeling bitter about something, but not saying anything about it. And then eventually it will just ratchet up and explode. So that's something to look out for you. Did you have any questions specifically around this?
Hi, sorry. I thank you. I think this is very accurate. I do tend to be quiet and then it eats me up inside. And I think, why didn't I say something? I guess no like specific questions, but it was just interesting, like with the new moon, like what I should look out for or focus on or work on improve.
Yeah. So as we were saying, with the new moon being in Cancer and having these emotional, heightened emotions for everyone, you have this channel right here, which popped out for me. This is known as the gunslinger, lovingly. It basically, gate 43 is the genius side, and gate 23 is the freak side. So basically, what that means is maybe as a kid, you might have found yourself just blurting things out and got in trouble for it or were made wrong for that. And so that could be what contributed to you holding back and not speaking. But that's going to be one where when you have something to say, you really want to let it out, because if you don't, especially with gate 22, that ratcheting up, you will be like a volcano right now. It'll just erupt and you won't have any control over it. It's totally gunslinger, bam, it's going to come out. So that's something to look out for.
Okay. Thank you.
Can
I
you
want to
can you share with us, as a child, were you that way where you would just say things and
I was born in Ukraine. It was like Soviet Union is like
mm,
rumbling. We had no food. It was a tough time to be born into. So a lot of my childhood was just like be in the corner, stay quiet. We're just like literally surviving. Like we're not actually living. And so all my childhood, and I have a twin sister.
mm,
So I just remember this constant feeling of just having to shut up and just don't talk. Like, don't like, and I was super terrified of speaking up to my parents. And so me and my sister, I honestly don't know what I would do like without her, like what type of person I would be, because between her and I, like we obviously shared and we're still like that. We still share everything to each other.
yes.
But yeah. So I don't think it was like a moment. It was just like the time that I was born into. Nobody had time for us.
And you learned from a very early age to control that gunslinger and to not let those things out.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering if that has caused have you had any through your life sinus issues or postnasal
Yeah.
or, yes?
Every time going through some type of cold, I constantly get sinus infections.
Yeah. So that's a sign of not letting that energy out. You're
Yeah.
going to have throat issues, sinus issues, things like that. If you're not letting that energy out, you want to get cleared.
Okay.
And you can also do that through other modalities, like all the Western medicine things, acupuncture, Reiki, anything to get that energy moving
Okay.
until you practice actually speaking your mind when it's important to you.
Okay.
thank you,
Thank you.
Kat.
Thank you.
I want to touch on, so I see we have Pedram. Thank you for your question. We have Liz and Torrance has his hand up. So I've gone ahead and looked at the cards for Pedram. Thank you for being with us. Okay, so we're looking for securing funding for a personal mission project. I've got your cards here. You are a queen of clubs and a five of clubs. And it looks like 41 this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when I look at your cards for the year, your whole theme, one of your two themes is a three of diamonds, which is making money from two different sources, or anxiety about the finances. Like it's the same energy. It's like anxiety on one hand, creation on the other hand. What I love about your spread at 41 is you have, in your Jupiter period, you have the millionaire spread. So Jupiter is always a good thing. It's going to show how you receive blessings and expansion spiritually and in business. So it's an amazing year to be securing that funding. But also, you have in the next, so this year is a bit tricky. Like there's some things that you're being challenged with, possibly in terms of what your values or your planning, maybe there's something with the planning. But at 42 to 44, you're entering into one of the most auspicious times of your life. You're ending a cycle that's been going on for the last 7 to 15 years. And you end up making quite a lot of money. This happens usually like maybe twice in someone's life. So the next 3 years, it's like the money starts and then it's like windfall at 44. Get yourself as prepared and ready for that. It sounds like the funding is coming. And it could also be through somebody. Like at 41, you have protection, like an umbrella of protection in business deals. You have a two of diamonds. I'd love to hear how that plays out. And I hope that helps. If you have, feel free to unmute if you want to ask anything else. I can check while I have your spread here. Otherwise,
Yeah, hi. Wow, that sounds great. Lots of good
yeah.
news. And I was feeling the same way. And so it does match my own sort of internal intuition.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you so much for your question.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah. And then we have, so let's go to, I'm not sure who was first. Liz, if you're still with us, I can quickly try to, oh, there you are. Yeah, you're nodding. So you are August 5th. You're an eight of diamonds, very powerful. Kitchener. Oh, Madison. Oh, she's your daughter. Oh, hello. Thanks for coming. I remember you now from our SELP guest event. Do you have a question?
Hi. No, I didn't have a question because I felt like seeing that chart for Kat really explained some things for me. So I would be curious because that gate,
Yeah.
same kind of thing from when I grew up. I wasn't able to speak my mind and I had to hold it in. I have sinus problems and feel like there's lots of information to be had from those charts, and just was interested in trying to access that.
Yeah. So Liz, what city were you born in?
Kitchener Waterloo, that's Ontario,
Oh, got it. Okay.
Canada. Yeah.
I was born in Hamilton. We're neighbors.
My sister's there right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very hot there, humid.
yeah, I heard. And if you don't mind, Liz, how old are you now? I can look up your annual themes and stuff.
I'm 61.
Wonderful. Stability in work and lifestyle. Ooh, you got a year of transformation on your hands. Something good
Good.
could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I just quit working at a full-time career in the fall, so I'm in that transformation year,
Nice.
figuring out my life now.
Yeah, that's
My
awesome.
new life.
You might start like taking a course or a class or something before your next birthday.
Yeah, I'm in Landmark right now, and I'm taking
Okay.
the advanced in the fall. So I'm already,
Nice. Oh,
Or-
cool. That's a fun course.
yeah, I'm in integrity seminars right now and all those
Awesome.
things. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm also seeing here that you're a 6-2 profile. So you have probably gone through 3 stages of your life, where the first third of your life was all about trial and error and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, so that you can learn from that. So that this stage in your life, you've gone up on the roof in the middle stage. You might have been introspective at that time, or maybe not. Some people don't always do the introspective work. And then they tend to come down off the roof a little bit harder than they need to if they haven't done the work. So you're right now in the stage where you are down off the roof and are set up to be the role model in all of the things that you've learned through the life, through the trial and error.
Gotcha.
And you do also have the emotional center lit up here, the sort of So
Okay.
you could find yourself with heightened emotions at this point in time with this new moon, and they are directly connected to your root center here at the bottom, which is all of your grounding energy. But there's going to be a pressure in that grounding energy to make things happen. And especially if it's related to the emotions around something.
That totally rings true.
Okay. Did you have any questions based on that?
No, I think it's fine. I understood everything you said, and it totally makes sense. And I know when you mentioned taking a course, did you mean to try to find a new path for myself or for self introspection, those kind of things that I'm doing already?
Yeah, well, the cards you have an ace of clubs in
Mm.
Uranus and Neptune. So that's what you're desiring all year. And so not only is it's before your next birthday, because those are the last two planets of your year, but it's also the subconscious for the whole year to a lesser extent. So because the ace of clubs, like I said, ace is new beginnings, of course, and then clubs is mental stuff. Or so ace is it could be a new job or like a new course or class or something where you're learning.
Okay.
And
Right.
on
That
that
clarifies
note, if you're interested in your design, I will be launching my next Living Your Design course starting the end of July.
it. Okay.
Ah.
Any information on that if you're
Yeah.
interested to know more.
Will you put it in the chat, or do you want me to put my email address in here?
Yeah, if you could send me your email address, then I'll be able to send that to you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So much.
Thanks, Liz. Okay, Torrance, you are next. So you are a 6 of diamonds and a queen of diamonds. So your life is as a double diamonds person, it's hearts is childhood, clubs is adolescence and studenthood, diamonds is adulthood, and it has to do with money and values. And so as a double diamonds, you are very focused on, we could say, like the worth of things, or could be self-worth, or you know exactly what you want to pay for something or not. 6 of diamonds specifically, 6 is all about karma and balancing. So you're either someone who, on the lower end of this spectrum, it's like you fall into like money problems throughout your life. But on the high end of the spectrum, it's you are someone who pays all your debts because like you've learned that in a past life. Like you're very good with money and you keep that locked. Let me just see your question here. Did you have a question? I think you typed something earlier.
I just gave my information. I didn't type out a question.
Yeah.
But given the question I do have, I'm just in this transition part in my life right now where it's like I'm a stay-at-home parent, but I'm also trying to get my healing practice going.
Cool.
And trying to juggle with my wife's going through postpartum. So just juggling things that are like trying to be supportive and be there for my family, but also try to get this thing going. I'm finding myself like struggling with my inspiration right now. Like it's lacking a little bit. It's there, but I still have it, but it's like to actually go and get the footwork done and stuff like that. I want to say I'm like kind of at a standstill right now. And I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at and stressing myself out about it. Cause I'm like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You need to get more done. So I'm just like, yeah. So just curious if there's anything that destiny cards.
Let's look at what's on top of you right now. And I'm giggling because Sharon has pulled your chart and you are the 1% rarest energy type in the world. You are a reflector. And so it's funny you say confused because it's a new moon. You're basically ruled by the moon. And your strategy is to wait 28 days before making a decision because you feel every cycle of the moon, it affects you. I mean, you look at the tides, like our bodies are what, like 78% water or something. And like, especially for you, you have 0 frequencies. So you're always just picking up. And actually, you can read groups very well. Like you can walk into a room and instantly sense the health of that room, of the people in it. So you're very rare. That's so cool that you have a healing business that's coming up, but you're not someone who's here to do. You are just here to be ready when those gifts are received. So take that pressure off yourself, okay? How old are you right now?
I'm 37.
Okay, cool. And Sharon, is there anything you wanted to say before I look at the cards?
Yeah, just mentioning, I know we talked about this a little bit before, Torrance, that with your undefined root center and all that openness, you're going to have this feeling of needing to get things off your plate, like very quickly. And you're also not really, it's so great that you're being the stay-at-home dad. And at the same time, for your business, you are designed to be in other people's auras to get their energy and to be in response to their energy. So finding some ways to maybe take your daughter out to a coffee shop or something and just be amongst people, or someplace where she can play and you can be around other energies, that will probably help make those connections that are going to inspire you more and give you more energy to keep going and focus on it.
Okay.
That and your personality, your profile is a 6-2. And we talked about this with Liz, where you have 3 phases of your life. The first phase from when you're born until age 30 is trial and error, bumping into things, F around and find out. Like that's what that time period was for. Then from 30 to 50-ish, what we say, go up onto the roof and you retract from society a little bit. And what I've heard this described is that you see life through a pane of glass. So it can be hard to feel like you're actually connecting to anyone. But what this time is for is to integrate everything you learned in your trial and error and have this 20 years of like mastery and just establishing yourself. It might feel a little bit more of a hermit time for you, but at 50, you reemerge, you come back down off the roof, you're back integrated into society and you're the role model. Like all of a sudden at 50, like your life just blossoms in ways that you can never imagine. A lot of people end up, that's like the most loving time of their life. So even if you're like married or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily not available, but it will just bloom after 50. That's going to be the best time of your life. So again, don't pressure yourself. This is all by design. Just use this time to integrate and be of service. Your life karma is left angle. So you're here, you fulfill your karma through other people. And so I would less pressure on getting things done, although I have a very similar root center, so I get it. But you're, as a reflector, you're really here to, honestly, what they say, the archetype is like, you're someone who should be the justice system of society. Like you're here to be the judge because you can read what's healthy for society. So know that you have a very specific and rare role, and don't feel like you need to be a generator or even a projector like the rest of society.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so at 37, your annual theme, you got a lot of 3s and 7s. So this is like indecision, anxiety. I would recommend, if you have time, if you can carve out some time to be creative, that'll channel that a little bit better. And the 7s is all about having these risky situations or challenges, but there is a way up. It's like you're being thrown these roadblocks to integrate your wisdom. It's like, how did I, it's a challenging year. And yeah, your annual theme is a 3 of hearts. So you could have indecision in love. You could just have no idea how you feel. But by the end of the year, your birthday gift before 38, one of them is an ace of clubs. So that could be like starting this new project. It could happen close to the end of your year. So early March of next year. And you also have the millionaire spread in Jupiter. So you have a 9 of hearts, which is either like an ending or fulfillment of a relationship that flows your direction financially, spiritually. It is a good year for money. You have an 8 of diamonds in Neptune. So that's what you're thinking about all year, is like making this money and having the abundance. And okay, so the 7 of diamonds, the millionaire card, is also in your other spread, your annual theme. So that means that this year, your internal state about money is, and this is funny as a diamonds person, it's being thrown in front of you. So if you are someone for yourself that has money, then this is the year that gets multiplied and you have the abundance. If you're someone who's feeling like you always have to chase money or that you don't have money, that's going to be magnified as well. So it's the year to be, you know how they say be grateful and that's what magnifies things? Yes, in the spiritual, which is probably your lean, but it's more like being grateful for what you have physically, this soft t-shirt, the car, or whatever it is. Being grateful for the physical on the mundane level will attract more physical. That's being thrown in your face this year. Yeah, you've got a 5 of diamonds. So like you're going through this change of financial state that's challenging for you. But by the end of the year, you have this mindset shift, and you're also in a year of transformation. So it's a big year. You have a lot of kind of crazy energies, but you're protected in health, and you have this power to be sharing ideas with people. There's a lot more I could say. Do you have any other questions, or I can direct
No,
this?
yeah, I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'm hearing everything you listen to. So it's very helpful. Everything and
Awesome.
anything. Thank you.
You know what? And next year at 38, your theme is the 8 of Diamonds. And it looks like you have 4 of Hearts, so a very secure family situation by the end of 38. Actually, next year, you've got double aces in Jupiter. So it looks like that could be at next year, your business really kicks off. That's when you're like, okay, now we can hit the ground running. You have a 5 of Spades in Jupiter. So that's like changing location. Like you could even open a storefront if you want. Like you could have a change of location for either your home or your business that ends up bringing you money. Yeah. And your other theme's a 10 of Spades. So next year is going to be super successful from the looks of it. So don't worry. Relax.
Huge relief. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
been
Pleasure.
quite-
Thanks so much.
quite past a year and a half for me. So very grateful, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Torrance. Appreciate you. All right. We have also, let me just make sure I'm not skipping anyone here. Kat, anything? My sister Katrina, is there anything I need to watch out for? Sharon, do you want to have a crack at that? I've done Kat's, my sister's cards, but I'd be interested to see what. And while you're doing that, you're on mute. In the chat from Katrina, she says, is there anything I need to watch out for March 7th, 97? She's a 3 of Spades, 7 of Spades. Poor thing. But yeah, if you want to have a look.
Yes, I feel your pain. So the first thing that I see here is your defined hidden ajna, which is all of the information that's out there and the ability to process it. And you have all 3 of the gates active in the head. So gate 63 is the gate of doubt. Gate 64 on the left is the gate of confusion. And gate 61 in the middle is the gate of mystery. Yes, that sounds really exciting. And the challenge that probably presents for you is a feeling of, I've gathered the information. You're really good at taking in what's needed, processing it, having a plan. But then with all 3 of those gates active, you're going to have some doubts of whether you have enough information, whether you've really figured it out right. Maybe doubts about yourself sharing the information, even though you know it's correct and accurate and there's a plan ready. There could be some doubts about that. So you probably have a lot of people in your life that have gate 4, the other side of it. I know I have the same structure except for gate 61. So I find that I have a lot of people in my life that have gate 4 active because that's the gate of the answers. So just being around them will give you the ability to be secure in your plans and whatever you're creating to create in life. You don't even have to get input from them. Just be in their energy.
Okay.
Christy, do you have gate 4?
No, ma'am.
61, though, the gate of mystery, the big thing about that is you might feel like when you're going into something new, that it's going to take you forever to figure it out.
Mm.
And like, people around you picking it up so quickly, and you're going, I'm just struggling to get past step 1, and I don't know why, and I'm never going to get all of these things. But that's the beauty of the gate of mystery, is that it's like a light switch. So if you are struggling with something like that, just sit back and wait, just take it all in. Don't stress about it. You don't need to figure it out right then, because literally one day, months from now, whatever time frame it is, when you think you're never going to get all of those points, suddenly the light switch will turn on. And then it's not like a slow ramping up. It will be oh my gosh, I know all of it now. Just like overnight, without even understanding why, I just all of it. And now I can teach somebody else about this, like instantly. Have you ever experienced something like that? And Christy laughs.
Yep. So
Yeah.
funny. I tell her that too.
Yes, I definitely feel that for sure. Okay, so that was mystery, doubt, and what was the other one?
Confusion.
Okay, yeah.
But the good thing with your gate of confusion is you have the other side. So you will be somebody, I have that same channel. You'll be somebody who will be confused about something when everybody else is just slowly going along. It'll be like excessive confusion. But then you are the one that has this aha moment that sheds light on everything for everyone else that thought they were trudging along just fine. But then all of a sudden you have this huge aha breakthrough moment where everybody goes, oh, I never would have thought of that. Thank you.
I feel like things are backwards with me. Like I feel like people like things that other people think are easy are hard for me. But then some things that are hard for them are easy for me.
Yeah, it's all in there. The other thing to point out for you is you do have the channel of judgment internally into your root. So you want to be very careful, especially not to judge yourself when you have those moments of not figuring it out. It's how you're designed. You're designed to struggle with the ideas and the concepts so that you can find the answers, have the aha moments, and turn that light switch on that will show the way for everybody.
And also, you have that 6-line personality too. So you're still under 30. You're still like bumbling around trial and error. And I tell her this, I'm like, dude, just wait, just mess it all up and you'll get the wisdom you need.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. And we have Ian. Thank you so much for joining us. I have your question here. So you are a 10 of hearts. And are you a Sag or a Capricorn?
I'm 0 degree Capricorn, 13
Cool.
minutes.
Okay. So then you are a 10 of hearts and a Queen of Diamonds. Queen of Diamonds. Cool. We've got a lot of those on the call today. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool that your birth time is in military is 2222.
Yeah. So it's crazy. My whole life, I thought I was the Sagittarius because it's just basic general horoscopes or whatever. And then the first time I had a reading with the true astrologist, she's like, no, actually, even though you have a stellium in your Sag house, you're actually a Capricorn conjunct Neptune. So that's fun.
And did that make more sense for you? Like, did that feel like at home?
Yeah, even though I still have a lot of Sag energy because I have 4 planets in that. And my 4th house is messy. With 0 degree Capricorn was like a whole new thing. So I found that out 5 years ago, after I got separated. I've got 3 kids. We got separated. My ex came out, is now in a same-sex relationship. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Been going through that the last few years with a couple of failed relationships since. It's always difficult with kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I've got these skin issues that I got rid of. And they came up a couple of years ago. I changed my diet and everything, got rid of them, but now they come back. So now I'm thinking it's not diet related because I fixed that part.
Could be energetic. Got it. And I'm sorry to hear about what happened with the relationship and everything. One thing I haven't mentioned to all the Queen of Diamonds here is that it's one of the most unmarriageable cards in the deck. But the guy who wrote these books based on this ancient system, he's a Queen of Diamonds and he's been married 5 times. So it's a bit of like you want variety, you want, change, and there's nothing wrong with that. Look at what marriage has been for most of life. It's not like it's always, and a lot of times there's massive power issues, right? So the Queen of Diamonds people, they are so powerful and need to have things their own way. So that can be hard, right? So all this to say, don't beat yourself up. And Sharon, was there anything that you want to say about the chart before I look at the cards?
Yeah, you have a single definition with the sacral energy, and you're all connected to the identity center, your defined ego will center, which is going to have you have the willpower to just keep going no matter what, even to your detriment. That would be someplace where I would want to make sure that you're responding from, I don't know how much you know about human design. Do you know anything about it?
I'm just starting to dabble in human design. I've been mainly focused on astrology. So now that's why I reached out to Christy to first. Where should I go next?
Awesome. Yeah.
Glad you're here.
I also have the defined ego will center. And although it's great for us because we can make things happen, if you're committed to something, you will make it happen, even to your detriment. The problem is that can also lead to a lot of physical things, which could lead to the skin issues because you are doing something potentially that you're not a sacral yes for. So you're a sacral being.
Non-emotional.
So you are designed to listen to your guttural responses, the ahas and the uh-uhs. So if you're an aha for something and you go and do it, it's going to work out great. You've got all the willpower it needs to go through that. But if you're an for something, but you take it on anyway based on your willpower to, I'm just going to push through it, and because I need to do this for somebody else, because I'm supposed to, then that's where you're going to have some physical issues come up related to that, because your body just can't take you pushing that much.
And he has almost a completely open and unconscious root, which is the adrenal system. So that looks like you don't have a consistent pace of handling pressure or stress. Like it's different depending on the day, depending on who you're surrounded by. And what can happen because you're receiving of other people's ways of their pressure and stress, you could be totally fine, especially as a non-emotional, like you're like having a good day. Someone gives you a call and suddenly you're like the most stressed you've ever been out of nowhere. And you receive a lot of other people's stress and pressure, and just know that's not yours. You don't have that. If someone comes along and hijacks you, you can notice that in the moment and be like, that's not mine. Especially as a 3-5, because the 5s, that's your subconscious line. And that looks, first of all, you work very well with strangers, but people make a judgment on you and they either love you or hate you for no freaking reason other than their own. Like it's a projection field. So you're someone who people judge very harshly. We say they get burned at stake. It's not a fun profile. You're still here.
Yeah. And in addition, that pressure that she was talking about, the only active gate you have is gate 41, which is related to you. Everything's possible. So for you, a table is not just a table to eat on. It could be a shelter or a protection or a fort or a dance floor or a ladder. So like you have everything's possible. So you really want to listen to your sacral yeses and nos. If you're a no for it, don't do it, because that's going to tax your body, because this defined ego will center will allow you to make it happen anyway to your detriment.
Okay. And that ties into problem my Virgo rising, wanting to serve others, and it squares my Mercury. So I have problems communicating my boundaries. And
you have a completely open throat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that, like your point about someone just calls me and completely changed my day. Like sometimes I feel like I live 2 or 3 different lives, because I'm like corporate America during the day, and then kids, and then trying to figure out my personal space. So yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So if you can release that pressure to do it anyway. And if you're an even if you're I could probably do that, don't do it.
Okay.
You can refer them to somebody else or find a way to help them do it themselves. Don't take it on with your defined ego will center. Trust me.
And that feeling needs to come from my gut, which I've struggled with gut health all my life. So I need to clear that up so I can connect to it. Yeah.
Same.
Gate 40 is the gate of the stomach too, which is interesting, which is a different thing than the sacral. Also, I just want to quickly mention here, we are at 59 minutes. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. We are going to have a recording. If you need to run, you're released, you can go, and we appreciate you so much. Thanks again for participating. I just wanted to put that out to respect everyone's time.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to stay, everyone, if you'd like. So at 39 this year, you have a 3 of clubs as one of your themes, which is, again, it's the same as like this confusion, being pulled in 2 directions, indecision, like an uncertainty thing, but channel that with creativity. So that could be like something you do with your kids. Maybe you guys get them painting supplies or gardening, like whatever you can do to channel that confusion energy. It's the same as creativity on the high end. And then also you have a 7 of hearts, which is relationship challenges. And it's also more so, though, it's challenging you to let go of attachments and ways of expectations on people. But when you deal with this, it leads to, after 7 comes 8, it comes to this powerful place. And actually you end this year, okay, this is interesting. It says that your Pluto this year is a 2 of hearts. So that's like your challenge that's leading to transformation. So it's like whatever this relationship challenge is that's giving you trouble all year, you end up with an 8 of spades, which is a very powerful card to have in terms of your health, in terms of work and lifestyle. And your Neptune, okay. Your Neptune is a Queen of Hearts. That kind of tells me you're thinking like you could meet a hearts woman if you're in the market and you're looking. you might find someone with a heart's birth card. And I always tell everyone, feel free to, you can either look up their birthday, you can literally just Google month, day, and then destiny card. And I do that all the time. And then next year, you have some mastery or challenges like King of Hearts leading into the King of Clubs. So that should be a powerful year. Next year, your theme is Five of Diamonds, which is kind of like money changing hands. So that could be something like restlessness around money, possibly that comes up next year. But you have the Four of Spades, which means like stability in work and health and lifestyle. So it's all good. You're going to be fine. You have that protection.
The money thing, that makes sense, right? Like I'm going through trying to finalize legal separation agreement. My mom passed away last November. So my dad's in his early 80s, dealing with that as an only child. It feels like everything's just been dropped on me in the last 2 or 3 years. Just trying to I've been a reset moment, turning 40 and okay, what's the next 40 years going to look like? Especially when I look to career and how I make my money. I don't picture doing corporate America forever. What's my second career going to be type thing?
Something to do with philanthropy. You're a Queen of Diamonds. So that's service through something of value. So that's definitely something. The 10 of Hearts is like public speaking. It's also like the wedding card. So it could be that it's success with groups ultimately. So I could see you doing something that way. In terms of the next 40 years, yeah, you're actually this year at 39, you're stepping into your Jupiter time of your year, which is a 7-year time. You have an Ace of Diamonds. So that can be starting a new business. Ace is new beginnings. Diamond is for this new way of making money. Followed by after that is a Queen of Diamonds. So that's your Saturn time. So that can be more where you ramp up this whole service stuff. In your Jupiter at 39 for the next 7 years, your theme is this 9 of Hearts, which is a divorce card. But it also means, this is the funny thing with the nines, right? It's like giving away, it's endings. But it's also fulfillment, like a graduation ceremony. Like you're ending something and it can be disappointing or sad. You're going to miss all your friends. There's uncertainty about next year. But it's also a time to celebrate because this has been amazing. And now there's fulfillment, right? And this gives room for a new cycle to start. So that's what you're under. And then...
And a comment on the Nine of Hearts, even though it's said to be the divorce card, if you're not currently in the relationship or in the profession or in the whatever it is, like Christy said, it's the change where you will be then.
Yeah.
On the other side of it. So
like I got married when I had a 9 of Hearts in Venus, which is a divorce card, but it's the end of my single relationship status. So it's a card of fulfillment ultimately. And it depends with all of these cards. It depends how we look at it. There's always a plus and a minus. And this is what I try to do in my readings too, is say, yeah, we could look at a 7 as something scary, but it's also a challenge, like a video game, right? Let's have fun with it, man. Let's like beat this thing, you know?
Absolutely. Like going through my separation divorce was honestly the best thing that ever happened, right?
Exactly.
It drove me to try to find out why after 15 years she left, because the way she left.
Yeah.
So which led me to my first astrology reading, which has led me down this path, basically. Yeah,
exactly.
It's been trying to stay. I could have gone down a path and terribleness, but I stayed on that higher timeline.
Exactly. And actually, I wanted to say, it looks like you have very good legal cards for 40. So that it looks like things will go in your favor. If that for legal, we look at Mars. So that's You've got double 10s. You have a 10 of spades, 10 of hearts, 8 of clubs. My gosh, you're gonna be good. Yeah. I really appreciate you joining.
And that's the perfect lead into, we will be back around July 10th for the next full moon, which is the buck moon. Which, Ian, you probably want to come back for that because its significance is tied to growth, resilience, and new beginnings.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming. It was a pleasure sharing and playing with you all. We appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.